Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and as the fiscal year for 2018 comes to a close and the daunting release schedule commonly known as Broketober looms ever closer, the topic of loot boxes, in-game currencies, and arbitrarily enforced tiered item rarity is bound to pick up again as those games are released. Belgium, in particular, are still the country that is leading the charge against loot box gambling in video games and have also begun applying pressure to the EU to adopt a similar stance against games developers and publishers that employ such monetization schemes. One such company, Electronic Arts, has been sticking to their guns when it comes to loot boxes, however. With EA's talk of their moral compass and keeping their games fair and providing good value, they refuse to budge when it comes to certain areas like loot boxes, and it may land EA in potentially a little legal hot water. As always, I will do my best to provide you with the facts as we know them currently, and then I will provide my opinion, and then I'll leave the rest up to you. Links to any sources used, along with my social media, Discord, and Patreon are in the description down below. So what do we know here? Recently, it was reported by multiple sites that Electronic Arts has refused to pull their most lucrative loot box mechanic, FIFA Ultimate Team packs, in order to comply with Belgian gambling regulations, seemingly taking a hard stand against those regulations. Companies like Blizzard and Valve have already made adjustments to their games to be able to comply with Belgian law in this regard. 2K Games have even decided to comply with Belgian gambling laws with their NBA 2K18, and in the process have also resorted to outright asking, some have called it begging, Belgian players to help force the Belgian government into allowing them to reintroduce loot boxes into their games. There have been some news sites like Engadget.com that have also been falsely reporting that Electronic Arts has admitted that all loot boxes are gambling. This is not an accurate statement. It comes from the printed transcript of the Electronic Arts Q4 2018 earnings call that I'll throw up the relevant line on your screen now, in which Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, stated, "And we don't believe that FIFA Ultimate Team - all loot boxes are gambling." Now, that dash is what is important to note here. It denotes a segment where the words for the transcription were unintelligible. This means that there were additional words there, but they couldn't be made out from the recording. This misperception, as I said, has led to more than one site into posting a false gotcha moment in regards to EA that, while it would be a triumphant victory to have Andrew Wilson himself stating that loot boxes were gambling, that is not in fact what happened here. Sorry guys, maybe next time. As a result of Electronic Arts refusing to remove the gambling elements from their most lucrative earner for Belgian players, Electronic Arts is now under criminal investigation by the Brussels Public Prosecutor's Office. It was also stated in the Belgian news site Metro that the new release of FIFA 19, which is scheduled to be released on the 28th of this month, will also have its FIFA Ultimate Team Pack system firmly in place for Belgian players. And my take on all of this is that, is anyone really surprised at all that EA would actually do this? We've known for a long time that EA is greed incarnate and are one of the three worst gaming publishers on the face of this planet when it comes to outright anti-consumer practices. They were willing to back off of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA and its pay-to-win slot machine, as it never serves to piss off the House of Mouse, and they want to be able to hold on to the development license for the Star Wars IP that they paid so much money for. They have even stated in the past that Anthem and other games would be free of such nonsense because ultimately it costs them very little to do so. The reason for this is because EA makes more money off of FIFA Ultimate Team packs than they do their non-sports IPs combined. FIFA's packs are the big moneymaker for Electronic Arts, seconded by Madden, hockey, and to a smaller extent NBA. Those were Blake Jorgensen's words during that same earnings call I mentioned earlier, and is not my just being hyperbolic. If EA were to give up Ultimate Team packs as gambling, which they are loot box gambling, it would be a massive blow to EA's profit margin, and that is something it would seem that they're absolutely not prepared to do. It would also appear, at least to me, that their decision here may have been to simply accept a fine and to move on with their day, which is probably their overarching goal. It's entirely possible that it's cheaper for EA to maintain the card packs and just pay the fine than it would be to rescind them in Belgium. It is also extremely likely that they will plan on staying that course while they work to undermine the Gambling Commission's ruling with the hopes of eventually overturning it. And that, I think, is the real danger here. Belgium has ruled that these loot boxes are gambling, and they have begun pressuring the EU to adopt the same stance. If that happens, then other countries will really begin to take notice, and it is possible that it could spread, which is definitely something that Electronic Arts and other developers and publishers out there that profit massively from loot boxes would fervently hope to avoid. And I've already had a couple of people asking me on Twitter and in Discord DMs if I think EA executives like Blake Jorgensen and Andrew Wilson could see jail time because of their refusal to comply, and realistically, I think my answer would have to be no on that score. If it were to happen, there would likely be a legal case that could take the better part of a year, if not longer. Then there are extraditions which would have to take place, which would take even longer, and it would be a titanic hassle to actually jail a corporate executive in another country like that. It's far more likely that EA will simply be fined, and the criminal investigation will ultimately determine just how much they'll get fined and how often. It's also likely that once those fines are determined, EA will reassess the situation and eventually comply with removing Ultimate Team packs for Belgian players in FIFA 20 if the Belgian government sticks to its guns, because EA will have a great deal of leeway and time as the gears of government and bureaucracy are slow to churn. But governments do not take kindly to being ignored, so it wouldn't be wise for EA to just let this sleeping dragon lie for too long. And I think that's all I have to say on the matter, so I'll pass it off to you guys. Feel free to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.